So let's dive into this story. It's about what happens when you arrive in a new city full of hope and how quickly things can get complicated. We're going to follow one immigrant's first steps in London, and it's a real eye-opener about the hidden traps waiting for people who are just trying to build a new life. You know, it all kicks off with this little flicker of hope. In a huge, overwhelming city like London, our narrator finds a room that feels familiar. It reminds him of his grandmother's house back home. And that's a powerful thing, right? A tiny piece of comfort in a totally foreign place. But, well, that feeling doesn't last long. Okay, so first up, his new home. This is where that initial sense of comfort just falls apart. And he gets his first big lesson in London, a really tough one about who you can and who you definitely can't trust. So he finds a room with a couple of fellow Ukrainians, Vova and Roma. And you can imagine the relief, right? In a city of millions, finding someone from your own country who speaks your language, it feels like you found a lifeline. You just automatically assume you can trust them. But wow, the red flags start popping up pretty quick. And we're not talking about small things here. We're talking about stories of jumping out of a second-story window to escape an immigration raid. Or one of them literally trying to peel the visa off our narrator's passport, just to see if they could, reuse it. These are not normal landlord quirks. This is some seriously alarming stuff. And here is the real kicker. He eventually finds out that his supposed friends, Vova and Roma, were renting the whole house from an agency for £600 a month. But they were charging him and the other housemates $900. They were just secretly pocketing an extra £300 every single month. That lifeline, yeah, it was a total scam. So, with his money draining away thanks to the rent scam, the pressure to find a job is huge. An offer comes up to work in a stationery factory. It seems like a chance to get back on his feet, but you can probably guess where this is going. It's just a different kind of trap. Just look at these terms. I mean, come on. First, you have to pay them a fee out of your first paycheck just for the privilege of working there. Then, it's brutal 14-hour shifts for the tiny wage of £3.50 an hour. And the worst part? No unscheduled breaks, not even to use the toilet. It's just completely dehumanizing. And the work itself? Absolutely relentless. Picture this. You're on a conveyor belt, it's moving fast, and if you make one single mistake, miss one little thing, a loud siren goes off, everything stops, the entire factory floor turns to stare at you. The pressure must have been insane. So after just one day of this, he and his friends were done. They quit. It was just unbearable. And what did they get for those 14 hours of back-breaking, stressful work? A big, fat zero. Nothing. They weren't paid a single penny for their time. With the factory job being a complete disaster, guess who pops up again with another opportunity? Yep, Vova and Roma. This time, the job is cleaning streets for a company called Cardinal. Sounds straightforward enough, but of course, there's another catch. To even get this job, he needs a specific document, and not a real one. He has to use something called an IND, which is basically a forged piece of A4 paper. It has your photo and a fake stamp, and it claims you've applied for asylum, so you have the right to work. It's a risky move, but for many undocumented workers, it's the only option they have. Okay, so armed with these fake papers, they head over to the Right Choice Employment Agency, which is really just this tiny little cabin, and inside they meet the agent who's going to register them, a guy named Ben. Now, our narrator is completely, totally broke at this point, so he tries to ask Ben if he can pay the agency fee after he gets his first paycheck. But with the language barrier, it just turns into this confusing back and forth, where Ben keeps saying, money? After? And nobody's really sure what's been agreed to. And this is where it all comes together in the most brilliant, awful way. See, our narrator gave Vova and Roma money for the job fee. He figured they were just passing it along to the agent, Ben. But nope, of course not. They just kept it all for themselves. The agency and Ben never got paid a thing. It was just one last scam. So here he is. He finally has a job. But it's built on a foundation of fake documents and a final scam by the two people he thought he could trust from back home. What this really shows you is just how incredibly vulnerable you are when you're starting over somewhere new. And it leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? Is this new job a real chance, a genuine step up? Or is it just the start of the next trap?